Namaste, yogis. This is Adrienne.
And Natalie.
And Nora.
You guys went from like normal talking voices to all of a sudden like, and now I'm on the radio.
It's my yoga voice. I can't control it.
I know.
It's your sleepy night-night
It's my
voice.
sleepy
We
night-night
love
voice.
it.
We love your sleepy voice.
I put a lot of children down for a lot of naps.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of grown-ups for yoga too.
And a lot of grown-ups
That's
down
true.
for a lot of naps. That's true.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, this is the week after Thanksgiving, or the week after Thanksgiving. And we just wanted to give you guys a little heads up on kind of what's going on in our lives. My husband, Brian, had his pituitary adenoma surgery on Monday. And if you hear me, I sound a little bit froggy and groggy. That is because I got a lovely little cold over the Thanksgiving holiday down in Florida, and I'm still recovering from it. Obviously, this episode will make a lot of sense because just like I have worn myself ragged from, holiday travel and, stress and emotions of my husband having a major surgery once again. Thank goodness everything turned out okay. They got the majority of the tumor out. He still has to go through some radiation within the next few months. He's at home recovering. We had a really rough episode of post-operative delirium, which is basically when you have a really bad reaction to anesthesia. And so we spent 13 hours in the hospital with him being what Natalie and I have nicknamed him Crazy Pants, literally. At one point, I said to myself, how am I going to bring him home? Like, this is a 6'3", 215 guy, and I'm not as big as he is, nor as strong as he is. And he was acting crazy. And I thought, I think you broke him. Can you take him back? Can you fix this? Because I can't.
You break it, you keep it.
You break it, you buy it, And I'm thinking,
exactly.
I'm like, he better come back. He's back. Thank God. He finally came back to me. A little fuzzy. Still needs some time. It's going to go through some therapy. But thank you guys for having him in your thoughts and your prayers. I really appreciate everybody's support. I'm usually the kind of person that verbalizes and reaches out and talks about my feelings. This past couple weeks, I have completely shut down. I'm in a little cave. So it's been, interesting for me because I have so many different changes in my life with my dad moving in from Australia, my husband having major surgery. I still have two crazy girls that are 16 and 19 living at home. So yeah, I kind of feel like I have to be this, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I have to be strong for everyone else. And I haven't broken yet. I can feel it's going to come soon. That's why I have my besties. Thank God, because I don't know what I would do without you guys. But he's doing great. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up and an update on that. Natalie, Nora, how was your holidays?
Really, really delightful on my end. I've got adult children, as I've talked about before, which I mentioned because for the first time, a holiday was easy. When they were younger, Thanksgiving is such a marathon for moms.
Yeah.
Such a marathon for moms. It would take days of prep, and I'd get up early and I'd stay up late so that everybody could have their dream holiday. And my dream holiday, but that was so much work. So much work.
Yeah.
And this year wasn't any work. Plus, all my kids came into town. Last year was much messier. But one of my daughters did the large percentage of the cooking because she enjoys that. So I just helped out a little here and there. I got a nap in, ladies. I took a nap.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's probably the first nap of 2025.
It's almost over.
Shit.
So I am deeply grateful for my Thanksgiving. It was wonderful. It was quiet and family oriented and nap worthy.
Yes. Nora, what about you?
Awesome. Yeah, we had a fantastic time. For those that don't know, I'm married to a firefighter paramedic. So those of us who are military first responder type, or just medical, emergencies don't happen when on schedule. So people continuously need to work and cover these shifts on holidays and birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. This year, my husband did not have to work on Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
He that's the one holiday that he's
Wonderful.
off. So we were able to have some family time and see both of our adult kids, and that was really good. What I think is really funny as the trends that we see in the gym, pre and post, specifically Thanksgiving, because it's a food related holiday.
Sure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Natalie and I both work on Mondays, and we're there. We're together Monday evening specifically
Yeah.
when a lot of things tend to happen. Um,
Monday
and
night is a busy night in general. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
after work
yeah,
on Mondays, pretty busy.
absolutely. If you look at
Mhm.
trends, fitness trends, in the year, you have everybody's committed, everybody's ready, everybody's going to change their life January 1st, right? So January, February, you have much higher intake and it trickles off throughout the year. The same goes for your week.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody remembers that comic strip called
Yeah.
Kathy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
Don't remember
gosh.
that.
Yeah.
You just dated us so badly by even
Her
just saying
line. I
I have to
know,
comics.
I'm
say,
sorry.
I
I
haven't thought
know.
about that in
Hey,
a
get
long
out of my
time.
cord. Um, yeah, but one of her running jokes was, "Oh, I'll start my diet on Monday."
Mm.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yes.
It was on the coffee mugs, everything. It was just that mindset. Ugh, okay, fine, I'll start Monday.
Yeah.
But this is how people
Yeah.
live. Okay,
100%.
I did not think that was the case until the last 15 years being in the corporate fitness industry, working in the environment and seeing these trends happen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
However, the Monday before Thanksgiving, I had to
Wow.
stop Natalie going across the floor, and I was like, "Hey, I'm like, look at all these people. Everybody out here right now is trying to bank their calories for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
week." I
Yeah.
said, because they all know after today, they're not going to be here for the rest of the week.
Right.
And they
And
didn't. They
they're going
weren't.
to overeat, they're going to overdrink, they're going to overshare, they're going to have all kinds of over stimulus.
Yeah.
But they're going to
Um,
put these calories in the bank.
yeah, but they're like, you could see the determination on these poor people's faces, like, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna have this, yeah, it's gonna be there.
It's true. There
And
was such an energy that night. First of all, it was packed. It was
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
it
packed. But
was
beyond that,
crazy.
there was a frenzy. It was like, whoa, everybody out there.
I'm going to
And
work
well,
off the
yeah,
potential turkey meal I'm about to
Yes,
eat.
yeah,
exactly.
right,
Exactly.
for sure. And then you can fast forward 1 week, and you go to the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And
my
they're
gosh.
back.
And guess what? Yeah, they're back, and you can tell these we call guilty calories
Yeah.
because they're like, "Oh shit, I ate that whole pie," and they're like, going. I'm like, girlfriend, you cannot burn this off in one go. You
No,
need to calm down.
exactly.
And so yeah, I think that's really interesting, and it's important to understand that it doesn't exactly work that way.
No.
No.
I
And the
appreciate
problem
the
isn't
understanding and the awareness of the issues, but um, trying to get it all done at once just isn't the way that nature works.
exactly.
It's not
No.
the way that calories go in and out. It's just not, it's not the whole story.
And people are allowed to overindulge occasionally. I mean, we
Absolutely.
Yeah.
all overindulge occasionally. There's a certain amount of joy in that for sure.
Correct.
Um, but but please don't punish yourself afterwards,
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
Before or after. Right.
before or
Exactly.
after.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's just not necessary. And what you're doing is you're adding more cortisol to your system,
Hmm.
which we know is the stress hormone. It's the one that tells our body to store fat instead of burn it. It's the exact opposite of what you actually want. And putting that extra stress on your body, but also in your mind about you just feeling guilty about it, that's not going to help you to reduce your stress or to reduce um, body fat percentage at
Right.
all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think that it's really interesting because this time of year in a club or a gym or a yoga studio, anywhere where you're usually seeing people being active, is when they start to turn away and do other things because they feel like I don't have time for my normal schedule because I have to be taking care of all of these things for the holidays. And sometimes it's an excuse, sometimes it's a reality, and sometimes it's just a lack of, planning or a lack of prioritization of how you can't drink from an empty cup, right? And we get better when we move more. And I think that, I said to my husband, I was like, well, it's probably going to be a really hard candy Christmas this year for me and my paycheck because it's just very slow in the gym right now. But I know that within the next 30 days, it ain't going to be slow. We're going to have a rush of new people come in the door. And so that kind of made us think about, like, why is it that people, or how is it that people are looking at their workouts, right? There's so many different types of people out there, people that, have killed themselves in the gym for years, people that have, thought of exercise as pain and uncomfortable and not for them, or someone who has never moved a day in their life. There's so many
People
different.
who are going to start on Monday.
Exactly. I'll start my diet on Monday.
I guess I'll start on Monday.
Yeah, I'll start my
That's
workout
right.
on Monday. So it's like, what are your effort expectations versus your nervous system capacity? So we're
Correct, yeah.
talking today about why people shut down, why they quit early, why they spiral, and then why it's not personal. It's mostly biological. And kind of understanding that just like people be peopling, nervous systems be nervous systeming, right?
Yeah,
So-
every day is different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
All the time.
so I'm going to talk about a brand new beginner workouter, right? So someone that I had as a client in Chicago. He's amazing guy, love him to death. Started working out with me, and he had worked out in high school, played football, but then life started happening, and he got away from his movement exercises and started to more get into work and family and stress, and opened an incredibly successful business right next door to a gym I worked at, and started working together. And he started to come to my house, and we would do training sessions 3 times a week. He enjoyed yoga. He enjoyed, TRX and weights. So we did a little bit of everything. And I really enjoyed working with him, but I think it was like probably the first few weeks, he would come kind of consistent. He was then became a little inconsistent. And I started asking him, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Doesn't seem like you're, really putting this as a priority like you said you wanted to do. What's going on? What are you thinking about? And he's like, I just can't. And I go, what do you mean you just can't? He goes, I'm in pain. I go, okay, let's talk about that. You're in pain. What kind of pain are you in? He's like, every time I work out with you, I can't sit on the toilet for a few days afterwards. And I was like, okay. So is it a sharp shooting electric pain? He's like, no. And I go, okay, then you're fine. I said, what you're experiencing is muscle fatigue and muscle tired and feeling that your muscles are starting to fire, and get stronger. So it's not a bad thing. And I think a lot of times newbies come in and they start to feel anything.
Yeah.
And it's
basic
like,
engagement.
yeah, any kind of engagement. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? And I say this all the time, but can you imagine that if we were taught about movement in our bodies personally as children, and how to breathe and how to regulate our nervous system? Because bottom line is that if you want to regulate your nervous system, you have to be in your body and you have to be moving, breathing, and finding connection within. It's not about.
When you say in your body, what do you mean?
So, okay, that's a really good question. In your body, right? So how many times have you been in a class or worked out with someone and they're looking in the mirror all the time, or they're going like, well, what should I feel? Or am I doing it right? Do I look like I'm doing it right? I look like everybody else, but now my knee hurts, right? It's like this idea of not being able to connect within. We are so much trying to please other people. I'm one of my favorite, Ram Dass. He's a famous philosopher, writer, spiritualist. And one of his books, he starts off by saying like, you were born and you're in this suit, and you're like, whoa, look at my suit. Everybody likes my suit. Everybody thinks my suit is cute. Like everyone says I look really cute in my suit. Here I am, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't feel comfortable in this suit. This suit doesn't feel good in me. So I'm going to take this suit off and put on a different suit, right? So it's like recognizing that you don't have to show up as what you think other people think you should be. You need to show up in your own personal suit, in the one that you've designed, the one that you've had handcrafted. And we don't learn that as kids. We learn how to look like everybody else. You know, do a plank. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids do planks and I'm like, you're doing it wrong. But they don't know because they're just looking at the person next to them, or the PE teacher is saying like, all right, hold this plank. And they're like, well, what the fuck is a plank? What am I doing? You know?
You see that every day in group fitness classes. Because it's follow the leader.
Yeah.
They're just trying to do what the instructor's doing on the stage. And they're like looking in the mirror, looking around, looking at the other people, looking at instead of, can I feel my butt?
Right. Right.
She says, reach through my heels. How the hell do I do that? What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But I think that's really common, especially with those newer clients that we, people that are not used to movement at all, you know, especially with the sedentary lifestyles that are there nowadays. It's like using the rate of perceived exertion has really taught people to be able to think, oh, what am I feeling? And what I mean by that for us, those in the industry, we use an RPE is on a scale of 1 to 10. When you perform this activity, how hard is it for you? So they're perceiving that this load or this exercise or this, oh my God, that was so hard, you know? And I use the example of teaching people to squat or teaching them just how to get up out of their chair properly, or off the toilet or whatever. Is it if in an introductory session, if I'm doing a movement assessment with someone, a lot of times I'll have them stand up and sit back down in the chair 3 times, and then I'll ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was that? And they'll say, oh, you know, a 3 or a 4. Okay, cool. And then I walk them over to the leg press, and I put literally less than a quarter of their body weight on the weight machine and set them up correctly so that their bones are in line and they know. And I say, okay, now I want you to squeeze your butt and push this weight away from you, or push this platform away from the weight. And I'll say, well, how, you know, do it 3 times. How hard was that? Oh my God, it was like an 8. I'm like, was it really? And then I'll tell them, well, you just, when you stood up out of the chair, you had your entire body weight that just came up out of the chair with you. And you said it was only a 3 or a 4, but I put you in this new environment where gravity's hitting you slightly differently, even though it's the exact same thing. But because you haven't done it before, you are perceiving this activity as being a whole lot harder than what you just did.
Yeah.
And that's just because it's new, because you don't have a frame of reference to it. And so then what I do is a few weeks later, after working with the client and doing these things, XYZ, whatever, and not asking them then RPE, because I've, you know, done this for a while.
Yeah.
Then I'll take them back to the exact same machine a month later, and then I'll have them do it, and I'll put real weight on there because now I know what they can handle and where their body's at. And then I ask them again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is this? You know, and they'll tell me, oh, it's maybe a 5 or a 6. And I'll say, that's awesome, because you just did 5 times the amount of weight that you did 1 month ago. But now you're perceiving actual load and an actual movement here. It's not that you gained 5 times the amount of strength in a month of working out. It's that you have now figured out what it feels like in your own body to move correctly and to move weight, right? So exercise, it's a lot of this is we're getting into psychology of exercise, but that's really what it is. It's understanding your body and like the biomechanics and that feedback, the neurological feedback of what you're doing and what you allow your brain to tell you that it is. Yeah. Because if you also sit there with your self-talk and you say, I can't do this, then guess what? You can't.
You can't. Exactly. What you think about, you bring about. For sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that we feel like as humans that when we go to a personal trainer, we go to a group fitness class or something, small group class, we are thinking that we are being judged. We think that we are in some sort of a competition or that we are in this race. And it's like, no, it's you versus you. And the more that you can get that into your head, that it's not about you trying to hurt yourself. It's about you how to feel in control of yourself, how to feel good in your body. Like people don't understand that they have that capacity to make themselves feel good. They do.
Absolutely.
Really,
Absolutely.
they're the only ones that does, right? There's really hardly
Yeah.
anyone else that can make you feel really good in your body. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
a massage therapist for that hour you get that massage,
But
know?
it doesn't last.
Or really strong, really
Yeah.
strong. And I think a lot, especially for a lot of our female clients, understanding what it feels like to feel strong
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
is an aspect of independence that we've forgotten.
Big time.
And there are a lot of people in the earth that we live in that don't have the opportunity to have that independence.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do. And I think it's really important to just to highlight that, like, this is your independence. This is so that you don't have to call the firefighters to come pick you up off the toilet because you
Yeah.
can't get up there yourself.
You
This is your
use that
strength and your
example all the
independence.
time, Nora, but I think it's perfect. I think
Yeah.
I mean-
that's what we're talking about, folks.
Selfishly, my husband has to pick up people off
Yeah.
of the toilet.
But I mean, but
So that's it, though.
That it
Do you
is.
want to live with independence? Then this
Do you
is where you
wanna
have to
be-
do it. And
you
it doesn't
might
start
fall
in your
down.
60s.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
It
doesn't
should
start in your
start
60s.
in your 20s.
Yeah.
And you might
Please.
fall down. Do you have the strength to get back up?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the thing is
Yeah.
that it doesn't take, like Nora said, like the RPE, it doesn't take a lot of effort, right? Like when I first started running, right? I don't know why. I was like, I want to be a runner. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like you're either genetically predisposed to be a runner, like a good runner, or you're not. Or you find someone who can train you to be a good runner. And unfortunately,
Sure.
I didn't have the knowledge or awareness of how to run, how to get a trainer, how to do this. And I was like, I'm going to be a runner. That's how I'm going to lose weight after having babies, right? So I would run.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah.
There are thousands of women that do this every year. And right after postpartum is not the time, let me tell you. You're depleted, your bones are weak. This is how you end up with bad joints.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Adrienne and I have osteoarthritis. Thank you. Yeah. And
Hello.
I mean, it's literally like, I was like, okay, I'm going to get on the treadmill while the kids are napping and I'm going to run. And I would run for 2.5 hours on a treadmill, slow as fuck. And I felt great. I never lost an ounce. I was starving all the time, and I look at it now and I go, what the fuck was I doing? Like, it wasn't enjoyable. It was almost like I was trying to punish myself, right? Like, you gained all this weight from having babies. You don't know how to move your body. It's like, I knew how to move my body in yoga. I knew how to, move my body in exercising, but I was like, running is going to be my answer, right? And so I committed to it until the point where I was like, okay, so now I'm having really bad knee issues and hip issues and all these problems. I'm like, maybe my doctor finally said, I don't want you to run unless you're being chased anymore, but
maybe running's not for you.
Right. But like my mentality growing up was push until you can't push anymore. And no pain, no gain. And that kind of leads into Natalie's client story.
Well, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's like, we don't know what we're capable of. And there's a certain percentage of people where that means they think they're capable of less. Any amount of discomfort frightens them. They think they're injured, but the same impulse can have the opposite extreme. Clients and individuals who don't know what they're capable of. And so they push and they push and they push and they push and they push. And sometimes that means they push through pain.
Yeah.
They don't recognize it. They can't tell the difference between discomfort and pain. And just like the client, just like you talked about your client who was sore from exercising and thought that was injury, there are personalities that feel pain, but don't stop because, like you said, no pain, no gain.
Right.
Like, I hurt, so I must be doing it. I must be doing it right.
Right.
And it gets to be, I want to use the word punishing. In my mind, watching from my perspective, watching a client behave like this, it appears to be punishing. I don't know if psychologically, if that's what they're thinking, that they're trying to punish themselves. But
I think sometimes it is, but
yeah.
that's definitely not the case for every overtrainer that we know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yes, like sometimes you're right, Nora, because like sometimes we get somebody who their life has been really, really stressful and they've fallen off their workout routine.
Mhm.
And so now they come to the gym and they're going to work 3 times as hard and they're going to
Yep.
punish themselves. And
Yep.
it's, and
Or maybe it's more of the mindset. I'm going to make up for the days that I missed all,
right,
the
exactly.
last 2 weeks or something, but I'm going to do it all today.
I'm going to do
Yeah.
it all today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then they can't move.
It's like,
Or then they get
that's
injured.
right. Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
And
And I
then
mean, that reminds me of like Natalie, you've got a client that is kind of the complete opposite of
Yeah.
my client.
Yeah, like I was talking to this client this week, and I was their second workout of the evening, and he came in and he said, "Oh, I just finished working out, and my trainer, my Garmin, the one of those training
Activity trackers.
activity trackers, thank you, says that workout was unproductive." And then he started working out with me the second time, and when we were all done, and like, "Oh, my activity tracker just says again, this workout was unproductive too." And I was like, "Well, yeah, if an hour ago your workout was unproductive, why did you think the second hour was going to be productive?" Like,
Right.
I think you need to evaluate everything that you're doing if your activity tracker is telling you to stop.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know that was a feature on those activity trackers. Like, how much
Yeah, they're
are you
getting pretty
doing?
smart.
They are smart.
They're getting pretty smart.
Like my
And
activity tracker knew that I was getting sick before I knew I was getting sick.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we wear the same one, Adrienne and I,
Yeah.
and it's been fantastic.
It's a whoop.
Um,
I'm going to
it's
say it because I'm
crazy.
going to put manifesting out there that, maybe.
that Whoop wants to partner with us.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Sponsored
telling
by.
you what, yeah, it really does add up all the things that we don't remember to put in the right columns.
Right.
Meaning recovery.
Sleep.
And it doesn't matter what you do. You can't outtrain a poor diet. You can't outrun your anxiety. You can't overwork your system and expect to get results.
Right.
Like
Right.
beneficial results.
You
And I don't know
can.
why we think we should. Like, why do we think that why do
Yeah.
we think that it should work that way? It
I
doesn't work
don't
that way in
know.
any other aspect of life.
I'm not entirely sure what his objective was. I mean, yes, I want my clients to be healthy, and yes, that includes exercise. But there is such a thing as too much. And
Absolutely.
if you're not, like Adrienne said, if you're not in your body enough
Mhm.
to notice that
Yeah.
you're depleted,
Yes.
Yeah.
like there's a disconnect there. And there's a disconnect if you think that any sensation is not good for you, it's dangerous. But it's a disconnect if you don't know that you've overdone it.
Yeah, those are the two ends of the spectrum,
Yeah.
right? Like not moving at all versus moving all the time, even when you
Yeah.
shouldn't be moving.
Yeah.
Those
And
are the two
honestly,
ends of the extreme spectrum.
Yeah.
I think in general, the solution is get to know your body, but you have to be mindful, which is one of the beautiful
Absolutely.
things about yoga, is that we really, I mean, I can't force a client to move
No.
mindfully, but certainly we
No.
are talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
hopefully reminding and bringing the client, like, be in your body,
Yeah.
note, think about your movement, feel your movement, be mindful. Don't write your grocery list
Right.
while you're exercising, while you're moving.
Well, like
Yeah.
Nora said too, like the RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So
Mhm.
after I was done killing myself running and had to reassess how I was going to, quote unquote, get back my body after babies, right? Which, by the way, just so that you know, if you're pregnant for the first time, your body's never going to be the same, and it's going to be even better.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with different.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
It's going to get even better, but you have to accept the changes, right? Like, and those ideas of, I always want to say received, but it's rate of perceived exertion. When I realized and was taught that if you're moving your body and you can say 3 to 5 words, right? You're probably in a really good lower heart rate, right? Kind of just pushing along nice and slowly.
Yeah.
If you get to the point where you can't say, you're taking a breath after saying, 2 to 3 words, then you're kind of pushing yourself a little bit harder. If you get to the point where you have to say and try to breathe each word, then you're pushing yourself really hard. That's kind of one of the things that I used for myself because I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought that I should be running and for 2.5 hours while my kids slept and burning thousands of calories, not eating enough calories, not fueling myself, not sleeping well enough, being under stress. So using that kind of idea of how many words can I say right now and how hard am I working? Where am I feeling it? Right. So that, like Natalie said, like to me, yoga helps you kind of find that reality instead of reactivity, right? It allows you to be able to be like, hey, is this discomfort or is this red flag alert, stop doing this, right?
Yeah. Personally, I think that's one of the greatest things about having a yoga practice or being involved in yoga, because it's one of the only disciplines that I've participated in, that if you're consistent with it, you can very, very easily learn to listen to your body.
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
you're in that 1 week of your cycle, when you should not be jumping up and down off the fucking ground,
Yep. Yep.
you can feel the difference even in Warrior One
Yes.
Mhm.
versus in the week when you should be moving boulders up mountains, and you can feel your strength and the level of that intensity factor, just being able to complete the movement and to complete your lines and to feel the engagement just more deeply throughout the entire thing when you are not depleted.
Yeah.
And understanding that you have normal peaks and valleys just
Yeah.
in a female month,
Yeah.
then at regardless of everything else in our environment.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So
But
if
men
if
go
we
through
were
it too.
homeostasis, true for sure. But if
Yeah.
we had normal homeostasis and we weren't talking about anything else with environmental factors or family or stress or life or work or traffic or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah. Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
if we're just looking at what's going on biologically in our bodies, there are going to be days when we can perform at a level 9, and there are going to be
Mhm.
days when we are supposed to be at a 4,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yep. One of my
I love that you brought that up. Go
Mhm.
ahead, Adrienne. I
Oh,
cut you
no,
off. Go
no.
ahead.
What I was going to say is just kind of like the idea of what I said about breathing, right? And how many words you can say and kind of knowing like where are you exerting effort or how are you exerting effort at that moment. It really makes me think a lot about something I heard a long time ago. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional like, scientist or anything like that, but what I've heard in the past is that when your body is at about 60% of exertion, that's sometimes as a place where your body wants to quit, right? Your brain will start to say, "Uh-oh, like this is really hard. Oh boy, let's
Yeah, it
slow
goes into
down."
protection.
Goes
It
into
goes in,
protection mode, right?
yeah.
And when it goes into protection mode, you still have 40% left. And that's like a primal thing that our bodies do. And if you go back and think about like moms who can lift a car off a baby because they have that adrenaline or they have that extra little bit in the gas tank, that 40% more. And so I think that where we get in our heads is when we get to that peak point of 60% of our brain and our brain's trying to hold back that extra 40%. If we start to tap into 61%, 62%, 63%, we're going to notice that our capacity to move and our reaction and our response rates actually get better. We get stronger.
Well, your nervous system can be trained.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to the being in your body,
Yep.
some days, whether you're a man or a woman, some days are the right day to push. I mean,
Yes.
you've got a little more in the tank and push and do more and be more and feel great. Some days are the right day to do less. Showing up was the big win.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
made it to yoga class
Yeah.
today. You
Yeah.
made it to the gym today. And if you are doing something for any length of time, you've succeeded. I have this longtime client, see her multiple times a week. And just the other day, we were in a group setting and we're doing whatever. And she was doing less than I typically see her do, less effort, less weight. And I went up to her and I was like, you can do more. I've seen you do so much more. And she said, today is one of those days where everything is just difficult.
Yep.
And I said,
Yep.
that's amazing. I thank you for being able to verbalize that, because I
Yes.
felt that in my own body.
Yes.
I backed off immediately, and I was so proud of her for saying it out
Yes.
loud. 'cause
Absolutely.
no more explanation needed.
No,
Like, I
for
felt
sure.
it in my body. Some days,
Yes.
everything is hard.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
she came and she was
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And I was like,
expectations.
say no more.
Right.
Absolutely.
Good for you for verbalizing it.
Yes. Good for you for paying attention and to being
Yes.
smart enough to listen to
Yeah.
your intuition and your know-how of your own self, because that
And-
takes a level of confidence
It's a
that a lot of
skill.
us don't have.
It's
Yeah,
And
totally
she
a
didn't
it's a
skill.
hard
stay
skill.
home. She came and she did something.
Yes.
That's a win.
I say that in my class all the time. 80% of success is just getting to your mat.
It
Right?
really is.
It really is.
It really, really is.
Well, and then how many times have you seen, or have you in your past, and I know I've done this many times, where I'm like really excited about going to take a yoga class or going to take a Pilates class, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to kill it today. Like, I know this is going to be so much fun. And then I get to my mat and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm sluggish. I didn't fuel myself enough. I didn't sleep enough. My stress level's hard. I had an expectation of what I thought I could do and then what I actually could do. And I was disappointed. And that is the worst place to be with yourself, because I said this before on the podcast, you do not have to kill yourself for an hour in the gym every single day. If you did 10 minutes of movement, and then on those days where you feel sluggish or you feel shitty, if you did something to move your body in a way that felt good, that's a win. You got to celebrate those days, right? Because you're not going to have I'm a beast mode in the gym every single time you show up.
That is an unrealistic expectation. We are human.
Yeah.
That is the animal that we are. And human bodies, just like every other animal on this planet, do not have 100% in the tank every single day. That's not the way that we work. I also have to remind everybody that today, the way you feel today is 100% a direct result of what you ate yesterday.
Yep.
Yes. And how much sleep you got.
And how much sleep you got. Yes. How much
what
you
other
ate,
dumb
what you
shit you
drank,
did.
and exactly. Absolutely. It's a direct result. So, and what you're doing, what you're fueling, how you're resting is how you're preparing for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's a continuous cycle.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I've had workouts that went the opposite. I've had days where I dragged my ass to class. I didn't want to go. I was
Thursday.
tired.
I was not in a good place Thursday.
Yeah.
And I absolutely
weren't.
needed Laura to pull me out
Yeah.
and say, throw that fucking kettlebell, girl, let's go. And I was
And you
like,
know what?
yes.
And then you've discovered that you're stronger.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's it. I'm definitely coming down with something. I fucking hate everybody.
Yep.
Everything sucks and I'm not going, but I promised Laura I'd be there. I promised Adrienne. I promised Nora I'd be there. And so you drag your shitty ass in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then an hour later, I'm like, oh my God, I feel great. I feel strong.
Absolutely.
Like sometimes I have this reserve that I wasn't expecting. I was like, I'm a superhero and I had no idea.
Yep.
And honestly, like you get in there and you just don't know. And you just don't know. And I remember when I was younger, for a long time, because I'm talking like, when I say I'm younger, it sounds like it was decades ago. It really wasn't that long ago. I'd get into yoga or wherever and everything's easy. I'm strong. I can balance. It's all great. I go the very next day. I can't do anything. I can't balance for shit. My legs are shaking. Every vinyasa is hard. And I would worry, there's something wrong with my body. I could do this yesterday. Why can't I do it today? I must be, I must have some horrible disease or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
We blame ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
We think, oh my God, our nervous system's my enemy. Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do this?
Something's wrong.
Right.
Like, that's the big word.
It's
Something's wrong. Yesterday I was healthy. Today something's wrong. And my brain would just try to figure out what that something wrong is. And it always had these horrible solutions.
Yeah. I have.
But it turns out some days I'm a superhero and some days everything is hard.
Yeah. I always have this idea of like, your brain is the worst case scenario handbook because your brain is
It
based on
is.
your
It
survival.
really is.
Right? Like your brain is like
Absolutely.
living in your head going, we must survive. We must be able to survive. Like that's why we have fight, flight, freeze. That's why we have all of these different things that our bodies can do. That's why we can, a mom can pick a car off a baby. Our bodies are incredible, but we need to also give ourselves permission to be okay with where we are that day, no matter what we think we should be doing, And I feel like there's so much that we put on ourselves. And when we back off, I remember the first time that I finally was like, okay, I'm going to follow this idea of how I feel by using my breath as my remote control, right? Like I'm going to pay attention to how many words I can say, and then I'm going to see kind of how my breath works. And I remember thinking like, wow, I'm not really I don't feel like I'm killing myself. I don't feel like I'm working that hard. I'm not perceiving my exertion as so high. I was feeling really good. And guess what? That's when I started to fucking lose weight. That's when I started to come into my own body. That's when I started to wake up in the morning and I walked prouder. I was open-hearted. I was more patient with myself and my family around me. I didn't want to eat a fucking pizza and, burgers after a yoga class. I wanted to eat something that felt good in my body. It was like this whole shift of going, it's okay. Right? Like your brain isn't really the one that is driving the bus. It's your nervous system. That's really where you need to start to take care of yourself.
And
Absolutely.
I love that you said the breath is a remote control because it is both an indicator of how you feel and it can help you feel better.
Absolutely.
If you stop and pay attention to your breath, again, be in your body. Start with the breath. If you want to learn to listen to your body, start paying attention to your breath and slow it down.
Yeah.
And breathe with intention. It's a very easy, very tangible place to start to be in touch with your nervous system, your physical system, like all of that at once. You can control it with the breath, but you can also tune in and listen to it with the breath.
Your breath is the largest communication tool between your body and your brain.
Oh, you said it so much better than I did, Adrienne. That's amazing.
Well, it's taken me 30 years to be able to say that way, but it took a long time.
That was gorgeous. I was babbling.
Yeah.
Say it again, Adrienne. That was great.
Your breath is the largest communication tool between your body and your brain. And it's something that we take for granted because it's happening all the time and we don't have to control it. But I challenge our listeners to take a timer, put out a timer for 1 minute. You have 1 minute during your day. Put on a timer for 1 minute. Sit there and either count your breath or count your inhale, count your exhale, play around with the pacing of your breath to see how you feel. Breathe in real quickly for a 3 count, breathe out for a 5 count. See how you feel. I had I had an experience right before the holiday, right before Thanksgiving, where I was in our private studio getting ready for another client. And I walked out in the hallway and there was a man standing out of the yoga studio with his hands up on the wall and is throwing up in the trash can right below him. And he's like purple and sweaty and gross looking. And I walked up to him and I go, "Hi, are you okay?" And he's like, "No." And I go, "Well, let me tell you one thing to do first. Bring your arms down from above your head." Because he had his arms up above his head, like almost like he was being frisked, right? But he was throwing up in the trash can. So he's leaning on the wall to be able to throw up on the trash can. And I was like, let's just bring your arms down for a moment. Because when your arms are above your head, your heart rate's going to go up. And if you're already in a stressful position with your nervous system, it's making it worse. So I was like, hey, bring your arms down. Come with me. I said, let's go. And he was like, I just didn't realize it was going to be so hot. I know I've taken yoga classes before. This was just so much different. Today was just not my day. And I go, that's okay. I go, come with me. I laid him down on the floor, legs up the wall, 3 breaths. He was better. He was 100% better. And it was because he actually took control of his breath instead of his brain taking control of his nervous system and racing, thinking like, oh shit, you're gonna die. You fucked up, dude. You fucked up bad. Like, hurry up. Like, we're gonna, like, that is what I see so much in people. So much. And it's like, just take a few breaths. Just, why not? You have nothing else to lose.
Absolutely.
So I think that we have 5 takeaways, okay, that I've kind of seen here throughout our conversations, right? So rate your capacity that day. So as you're about to go work out, you look at, am I here to stabilize? Am I feeling like I'm pretty good? Like I'm just going to kind of do some good, like slow moving work for a small
Yeah,
amount
on a
of time.
scale of 1 to 10, how full is your tank today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Look
you may
at your
not
gas
know
tank.
that. You may not
Right.
know that until you start
You
moving.
won't at first. Right.
Right.
You won't at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important to pay attention when you're getting that feedback.
Yeah. And
Today
then
may not be the day.
Exactly. So rate your capacity, however that looks, but rate it after 2 minutes of movement, right? So like you may come in and you're up in your head. You start that class and you have a couple minutes of silence and then you start moving. Give yourself that 2 minutes of movement before you start to go, this is how I feel, or this is how my body is feeling today, or this is my capacity that I might be able to accomplish today. And then breath check. Like I said, if you lose your breath, you've lost your capacity, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you, tune back into your breath? And then the 4th one is definitely permission to pivot, right? You can change your plan without abandoning your workout.
Absolutely.
Work out differently, right? Like,
absolutely.
Oh my God, I feel, for example, I'm getting over this yucky cold head stuff. So being upside down and down dog does not feel good right now. So guess what? I'm not going to do down dog right now. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do Pilates. I'm going to lay on my back. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to be upright. I'm not going to do things that are going to put my head below my heart that makes me feel like I'm going to snot all over this, my mat. So it's
On the same token, if you get in and it feels great, go for it.
Yeah.
Today's the day you
Right.
do more.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then the 5th one, which is one of my favorite ones, is replace should with could. I should do this. No, how about I can do this today? Right? Like, what are the things, like, there's many times where I've walked into class and I'm like, I'm going to kill it today. 2 minutes in, I'm like, it ain't going to happen. So then when it gets to that point where I'm like, oh, this is the part where I normally push myself, then I'm going to say, I'm going to sit, or I'm going to take child's pose, or I'm going to do, holding a pose instead of flowing a pose, to movement. I feel like it's instead of saying I should or I have to or why can't it's I could do this, or maybe not yet, right? It's the way you speak, the words that you say, or the house that you live in. So the more that you can kind of give yourself that permission to adapt and adjust, just like you would for any other human being you're with. If I walk in and I'm having a bad day, my friends at work are going to stand by my side and help support me. They're not going to be like, what the fuck, Adrienne? Like we give each other permission and we're there to support each other. Why can't we do that for ourselves?
Yeah. Consistency is more important than intensity.
Ooh, say that again. That was a good one.
Consistency is more important than intensity. Keep trying, keep at it, keep doing something, and don't get caught up in push.
Yep. If you're not bleeding out of your eyeballs, that does not mean that, you didn't work out today.
Yeah.
I think it's learn to train with your nervous system, not against it.
Ooh, yes.
Nice.
And if you're in sync, in tandem with everything that's happening in your world and your reality, whatever that is that day, then you're going to be more successful.
Yeah.
And then
Well said.
but giving yourself permission to live in that reality is a lot harder to do than it is to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, just having forgiveness, knowing that humans are not perfect beings. We're not, this idea of being perfect all the time is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and we need to stop punishing ourselves for lack of perfection,
Yes.
because that idea is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as perfection in nature. Why would we think that humans would be any different?
Yeah. When we were talking about the nervous system and looking outside of our bodies instead of looking inside, right? And kind of how we've grown up or how we've been perceived, Nora's got a great example of how women can be perceived in cultures that are different than the US, or different in different religions, and kind of how a woman feels about their body in movement.
For all of you who used to have the bumper sticker that says running is cheaper than therapy, that is true. However, you also cannot outtrain emotional pain. And so my example for that is I had a client, not from the United States originally. She was from a Middle Eastern country, arranged marriage, in her 50s, 4 grown children with their own families, and married to a doctor who, by all counts and points, very successful private practice physician, had multiple locations in multiple cities. And as I'm finding out, through trying to help this client, she was coming to me for weight loss, for I need to be attractive, my husband doesn't find me attractive, blah 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 blah. These are the words that are at the surface level. That was just the surface level of what she was bringing me. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to know, like, how are you feeling when you move? How does it feel when you squat? How does it feel when you're doing this? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel strong? I'm trying to, help her to build confidence, because we know that that's where the majority of these feelings come from. And in through the um it was, I think we almost made it to 6 months. It was right around the 4 month or 3 month, I'll say about halfway through, that I find out that the real emotional hell that this woman is in is because the husband has girlfriends in each of the cities that his clinics are in, and they're all, 25-year-old
Oh.
Girlfriends. And that, and it wasn't even the fact that she was being cheated on every day that was the pain that she was communicating to me. It was the embarrassment
Mm.
that she couldn't hold her man. She couldn't keep him satisfied sexually. And so that it was all her fault, that he was basically embarrassing her and the family name and her children and her grown children with their families and all this, because it was an open act.
Wow.
Everyone knew it.
Wow.
And she's living in this. And I'm just thinking to myself, bitch, what are you doing? Divorce his ass. Take all his money. Like, what do you do? What? Why? Why would you submit yourself to this hell? But I had to remind myself, that this woman was matched to this man before she even met him. She was sold like cattle, because this is how a lot of countries still operate in whatever we are, 2025. And the fact that she felt that it was her burden to carry all of that emotional pain, and that her deficiencies that she perceived that she had were the root cause of all of this behavior and all of her pain and all the problems. And
That's a lot of baggage to bring
Yeah.
I'm not a psychologist.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, and I'm like, I want you to focus on this. I want you to focus on that. I want you to focus on how much better you feel on the days when you show up for our workouts, versus when you just sit at home and you wallow in your pain and you eat 5 pounds of sugar, because you're trying to eat your emotional hell. And unfortunately, this is not a success story. This one, by the time we made it to our 6 month mark, she had developed full-blown Bell's palsy. And the side of her face was completely, for those that don't know, it's an inflammatory disease that's really debilitating and can be very hard to deal with. But it's brought on by
Stress.
extreme cortisol levels and lots of stress, just unrelenting, like chronic, what you would call chronic, not an acute attack, but a chronic systemic
A long
cort
term.
long-term stressful situation. And so bringing that knowledge and just feeling, of course, uh, unsuccessful in my attempts to be able to help this woman heal herself or to find any kind of happiness or just feeling better. My goal is always to try and I need to make them feel better when they leave me than they did when they
Yep.
got to me that
Exactly.
day. Like that's it. That's
Yeah,
my
job.
that's
one,
our entire
one
job.
little goal, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like beating myself up. What can I do here? What can I do there? And this and out. And the bottom line is that of course, we can only help them by giving them the tools, or leading them to the door, right? But you
Yep.
can't make them go through it.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, going along with the whole banking your calories, you can't bank them for an entire week, people.
Right. Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
You also cannot outrun your demons,
No,
no
you
matter how deep-seated they are. If you don't deal with trauma, emotional hurt, those things will come back, and that stress response will hinder your physical results every single time.
Absolutely.
It's also going to affect how full your tank feels every day, and whether or not you feel like you can even handle throwing a family get together and having all these people in the same room, or like everybody's gauge is different for what they've got to deal with. But you need to realize that your tank will be affected by how much baggage and bullshit you carry around on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's your PSA to talk to your therapist, people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Get your shit out.
Yeah.
Don't carry it with you.
Exercise can do a lot.
Yeah.
Also, don't
Yes.
forget to go see your therapist.
That's right.
Check in. Yes. I mean,
I
really.
promise to
That's
do
it.
what I can. Don't forget
That's
to
it.
go see your therapist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
In all aspects.
we are here, like Nora said, like as trainers, as teachers, like it's not about us, right? It's about you. And when you show up for you, I can help you. When you are showing up and you are emotional, or you are tired, or you have overeaten or undereaten, or you have negative thoughts about yourself, right? I can give you some tips and tricks and some tools to help you get through that. But just like Nora said, if you don't put those into action, the work that you do, you won't find the satisfaction from it. Your expectations need to get the fuck out of your head, and you just need to say, how do I feel right now?
Yeah, be all in taking care of yourself. Be all in on you.
Yep. So to kind of,
I saw, I love my Instagram wisdom. I don't know if this is something you guys know about me, but like,
what's your algorithm right now?
my algorithm is like just all like advice and these cute little words of advice that just scroll by. And I eat it up, and I click on all of it, and I just get more and more and more. And I saw one this week. It's just so good. I love Instagram wisdom, but it was like, take care of yourself like you would take care of your best friend. Like, just pretend that you are your best friend. Take care of that body and that mind and that emotional state. Feed it and make sure it gets enough sleep. Like if you were caring for your best friend, like how would you care for your best friend, and make sure that he or she just had everything she needed to feel her best.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah. Ask yourself
be
that question.
all in.
Yeah.
Be all in on taking care of you. Be all in on taking care of you.
Ask yourself the question. Like when you start to think about things, be like, would I say that to my best friend?
Yeah.
Would I talk to someone else like that? Hell no.
No.
Hell no. And know that as a trainer, we've seen it all. I've had people, when I say, why did you sign up for this session today? And they start immediately crying. I've had people that have walked out of class during the warm up. I've got people that's like, oh, there's no way I could do that, even before trying it. Right? All of these things, or they get angry at themselves because they feel like it's too hard. So we've seen it all, and we don't judge you for it because we know that this is part of the growing process. This is part of the ownership of the shit that you're in, your suit, your body, yourself. So we're just here to help support you, and maybe we can giggle about you and laugh about you on the side, but know that we do it because we love you.
Yeah.
You know, any last words? I can't think of anything else. I think we did a good job of talking about this, and hopefully listeners, you got something out of it, and know that right now with the holiday season, get your ass to class, get your ass to your mat. Even like I said, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, just go do something that moves your body, that makes you feel good. That moment, listen in.
Sounds good.
All righty. Well, listeners, thank you so much for another People Be Peopling episode. We would love to hear your People Be Peopling moments. We know you've seen them on the gym floor or in a class or even just out in the natural wild. We see people be peopling all the time. So send us your stories. Yes, exactly. Send us your stories. You can DM us at Yoga Changed on Instagram. You can send us an email at yogachanged@gmail.com. Please rate, review, subscribe, share this episode with someone who may be starting a new journey into fitness, or someone who has been one of the 3 examples that we've given, and let them know that they're not alone and that we are here for them as well. So thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.